Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Gal.
Hey, everyone.
Good morning. And Mike is here.
I am.
And Nick is here.
Good morning.
Somebody crank it. There we go. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. All right, so do you guys still hear echo? Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live. I hear something coming from
Ignore
somewhere.
that. I'm working on something. I reinstalled Vivaldi, and
okay.
it seems to be working now.
Okay. So, kind of a slow week, other than battling with getting a washing machine.
Well, that guy or woman or whoever it is in North Raleigh is going to have a fit talking about home improvement, Amnon. We'll get another letter.
I am telling you, though, to go and buy a washing machine these days is hell on. I mean, it's hell.
Why?
Because there are so many different options.
You don't
You
need
have
all that
Wi-Fi?
crap.
What?
All you need is a washing machine.
Kathy spent about 2 days on the computer reading about it. And boy, I'm finding all kind of things.
I could have saved her 3/4 of that time.
Well,
For starters, don't get a front loader. Because
well,
you
that's
can't
what she
understand something.
wanted. I mean, that's what she wanted. We were going to get a top loader, and there was a fiasco with Sears, and we said, okay, never mind. That's a sign. She said, yeah, I want a front loader. Okay. Yeah, the front loader we had lasted only 8 years.
And
Almost
if you
9
get a
years.
front loader, make sure you put it on a pedestal.
It is on a pedestal, but what? I mean, the bearing went. The main bearing, the whole thing inside now is, and every place you read and you watch, and they say, no, don't worry about this. Just get another one. It's not worth it.
Yep.
So I decided what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take at least recover something. I'm going to take the control panel, which is fine, the board and the knobs and stuff, and try and sell them on eBay.
Amnon.
What? I mean, look, to buy a control board.
When your day is done and she screws you into the ground, she's going to be throwing that crap in the trash can.
What stuff?
That stuff you're going to take off the washing machine. It'll still be in a box in your mess.
Well, if it is, then it is. But I mean, they sell a bunch of them on eBay, for different washing machines and
I'm a hoarder of sorts, but we started watching this show on, I don't know, one of the cable channels, DIY or one of them.
Yeah.
It's called Savage Dogs, DAWGS, Savage Dogs, where there's this bunch of guys up in Virginia who've hit a gold mine. They go out and take pictures of themselves tearing down houses, boats, things, salvaging parts, taking it back to their shop in Virginia and selling it. And these guys went into this fellow, older gentleman, probably in 70 or so, been collecting, got his gigantic warehouse just full of stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
just wall to wall stuff. And they go in there and they walk through and they'll just stop and pick up something. I don't know what it is, something we've never heard. Oh, this could be cute. Well, he's got 3 of them. And I mean, it's something like a corbel that came off of a 1920 mansion out in New Montana, something like that. And he's all right, I'll give you how much for them? And he said, well, I only sell 2 of them. I'm keeping 1 of them. Oh, well, I want all 3. Nope, keeping 1 of them, not for sale. I mean, the chances of him ever using that, somebody's willing to give him money for it. He wants 45 bucks a piece for them.
Mhm.
And the guy says, I'll give you 40 for each for all 3. He won't even sell them to him. That stuff will be hauled to a dump when he dies.
Well,
He
I
will
mean,
never
look,
use it.
if I take a board, the computer board out, and keep it for a while, see if somebody would buy it, it's fine. I mean, they sell for $200 and $300 used.
What does?
The computer boards for a washing machine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'm all for it. If my kids would get interested in taking stuff that I give them and go on eBay and sell it, they could pick up some extra money. I got
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff around here that I'd be glad to give them to sell, and they can keep the money. But I'm not going to do all the trouble and
No,
go through it and then give them
no.
the money.
Right. No, I agree. But anyway, so when you go to buy it, everybody has opinions and opinions on both sides. Top loaders, front loaders are viable.
All right, so here's the difference between a front loader and a top loader for most people. Has nothing to do with the longevity or what have you. It has to do with in a side loader, front loader. Once you start the load, there's no opening it up and throwing one more piece in there.
That's not true.
Well, that's what they told us because the water is up. You can see the water in the window. If you
No.
open the door, then well, that's true. That you can spend all day getting the water out of the house, but
No,
you
no,
can't.
no, 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 no. First of all, I don't know what you're talking about those commercial ones. You see the level of the water. The one that we had was a Samsung. As a matter of fact, I don't understand how it's washing
Doesn't
because
have
you
water in
don't see the water. I mean, the water below the seal. And there is a pause button, and you click it, and it unlocks, and you open, and you do what you want, and you close, and you resume. I mean, I've heard about machines that lock and you can't open them, about the top loaders, that if it's in the spin because of safety.
Yeah, but they have a switch on them. But if you got one of the
Yeah,
ones, if you had one of the ones that the water level never goes above the seal, then of course you could do that.
yeah.
But my understanding is that's only been in recent years that they have been able to make you think that your clothes are clean using that little bit of water.
Yeah, so welcome to washing machine.
Yeah, I mean, why would we want to talk about this? I mean, we're the only people who have washing machines. No one else ever has to get involved
Everybody has
in getting
washing
one.
machines.
And guess what? They have computerized boards operating them now, and that's technology. And those computerized boards fit on computers 2K now.
Yeah.
We'd love to take your calls on washing machines too, so call in
Your favorite washing
919-518-9773.
It was a really weird sensation to put your hand in there and turn the drum, and it
Yeah.
goes.
Well, replacing
I
bearings.
mean,
Are you sure there wasn't like a small animal or something in there?
Gremlins.
The Tasmanian devil was in your
Yeah,
washing
yeah.
machine.
Why don't you replace the bearing?
So Amnon, did you get one with Wi-Fi on it?
No,
There
I
you
didn't
go.
want one. I didn't want anybody to turn it off. No, I did not. Now that's a little bit crazy. Come on.
Look,
Yeah.
they're
If,
selling
oh yeah.
refrigerators,
Oh yeah.
right? With connected to Wi-Fi with a camera that points inside. So when you're at the grocery store, you can check if something is missing or not. And they're charging extra.
Oh man. This sounds like something that Nick would do. Nick always wants to have all the information right in front of him in his hand. And
Okay, all right. Chill out over there.
Okay.
I mean, no, I think that's ridiculous.
Amnon,
Un-
why does you live not work on video streaming?
it should. As
I
a
know
matter
it
of fact,
should.
it
That's why I
was
asked the
not,
question.
but now It's working. I'm on
I
it.
see it.
Not working here.
Actually, ULive was
Channel
down
six.
for about 3 weeks.
Channel 6.
Yeah, that works for me.
Not
Yeah.
working. It's not working with Vivaldi.
I use Chrome.
I don't know. I'm using, what am I using here? I'm using Chrome here.
Now, see, now we got the chat room talking about washing machines.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
it's interesting.
all right. So,
So
what's
you want something more techy to talk about?
yes?
Please.
Okay. So we've mentioned Firefox a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And if you're using Firefox, when you open it, usually the page has a few tips and interesting tidbits. And one of the things Mozilla is trying to push, it's trying to push DNS over HTTPS, which is very interesting. I've known that it existed. I've never read
That's
into it,
interesting.
never went into the details. And they created an interesting page with like cartoon-like explanation to help people understand the reasoning behind it. So the reason they're focusing on this is because Mozilla has always been big on privacy, on keeping your browsing private from prying eyes. They are a non-profit organization, so they don't owe anyone their data. Luckily, even though they are a non-profit organization, I don't know what the status is today, but previously they would have, most of their income would have come from affiliate links to Google Ads, I think. I think that changed because they had some critique about that, about the way they were doing it. But they're still working and getting. They're still. I don't know if they're profitable in terms of the expenses they have on manpower and development and everything, but they're very meaningful in the industry. And now they're trying to push blocking tracking, and one of the aspects of tracking is DNS, which is usually a very transparent service that most of us don't think about, even
Right.
us techies.
It's behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, but even though it's behind the scenes, there's a lot of there's a gray market for the data that flows through DNS, and DNS is like most early protocols of the internet. It's completely open. It's like sending postcards. Everybody sees the request. Everybody sees the responses, and they're saying it's time that this stops, and the requests are the request should become encrypted, and nobody should know what you're looking for, not even the name of the site. And Firefox supports DNS over HTTPS out of the box, but it's switched off. So you need to switch it on.
Yeah, but there's more to it. I mean, we run our own DNSs at Delta Force, and it's not HTTPS, and I don't even know that it's possible to set up the DNS as HTTPS. The browser can try to connect, but there has to be HTTPS. I mean, SSL needs to be on the other side too. So that's
Right.
an interesting situation.
So DNS over HTTPS is basically means that the DNS, the primary DNS that you're connecting to, is listening on HTTPS for the request, and the DNS request is encapsulated within an HTTPS packet. So,
Right.
So your first hop, that needs to be It's like a VPN, like a proxy. You need to think about it like that. Okay. DNS is still going to work between the DNS servers the same way, but instead of my request coming with my IP for the name of the server that I'm looking for, instead I am passing my request over HTTPS to a DNS server that is going to make the request on my behalf, and that request is not linked to me.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I pasted the link in the chat so
Yeah, I
everyone
see
can
that. Okay.
can read it. It is yeah, it's quite a read, and there's a lot of technical stuff. I think the interesting stuff for us, because they go into what is DNS and what is and all that. So that's about halfway down, and then they're talking about how it's starting to being tracked, and what spoofing is, spoofing of DNS,
Mm-hmm.
and what are the potential threats, and it goes on, and then it starts to talk about what they're doing to change that. So
Okay.
one of the things is that DNS over HTTPS. The other aspect is the one that I've mentioned before, and that's the containerized browser sessions, the
Yeah.
which I can tell you I've been working with it, and I
Um,
love the
function.
yeah, I really love the function.
Did any
Every
did
browser
any
session is fresh.
any of you guys did anything with that after last week when Gal was talking about this? Mike, Nick, anybody in the chat?
I did not. I still like Chrome.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
It's a plunge to take, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it requires some faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see what stores. Unless somebody has something else.
I have a question that's related to technology. Printers are technology. If
Mhm.
you're going to use a printer, you need paper. Has anybody checked the price of paper lately?
No.
No, can't say I have.
I'm sitting here looking at, I get coupons from Staples and Office Depot and all the time, and they're running a sale on paper now. If you buy 2 cases of paper, you get a third one for free. A case of paper is $53.
Wow.
And
No.
I'm sitting looking, that's nobody does that. And as I sit here and look at all of the paper that's available, I go to the listing of all the various weights and all these sorts of things. $52.99, $59.99 a case, 67, 59, 59, 62, 74. And this is just 92 brightness, 20 pound, 10 ream, 5,000 sheets of paper. These prices are out of sight. So I said, well, heck, because I mean, $27 is about my limit. I used to pay 19
Mm.
not that long ago, Nick. And so anyway, I go over to Craigslist, which is where I would probably be buying my paper now, because they often have 10 reams over there for $15, usually 20. Well, they've gone up to 25. The same paper that they're selling for the $38 on Staples is $25. And what happens? Some of these guys know how to use these coupons, and they end up getting it for free, and then they
Tim
sell
is
it.
saying go to Walmart.
Well, let's go to Walmart.
That's interesting.
Don't you have some trees in your backyard?
Not anymore. We clear cut.
Oh man, what'd you do with all that wood? You could turn that into paper.
We ate it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you reused it.
Yeah, well, anything for the environment.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to hear that.
Copy paper, $39.99.
Oh,
All right, let's see what they got here.
don't print so much.
I don't print that much, but when I do print, it's important. So what is this? This is copy paper.
Yeah, Costco 50, 45, 54.
1,500 sheets for $17. That's very expensive. I hate the way they've got these.
Yeah, they break them up
You can't
to
see
fool
anything.
you.
So let's go. Always go with the listing. That seems to show more. 5,000 sheets for $39.99.
Tim put a link in chat. I wonder what.
I don't need any right now. $32.46. That's still expensive.
Yeah.
I'm looking for $22.
So how much do you find it on Craigslist?
25.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Paper is paper.
No, that's not really true.
Well, I mean,
But
Papers are-
there's 2388 in Walmart as well. Georgia Pacific Standard multi-purpose paper
how many sheets?
to 2500.
Right. That's half a case.
yeah.
Oh, okay. 20 pounds.
So
See,
I'm going to go get my retirement account and cash it in and buy paper.
you see, Nick, you always tell me, well, why do you need a spare one? Well, why you getting another one? When I don't know when's the last time I bought paper, but when I bought it, it was real cheap, and I think I got 5 or 6 cases, and there's still probably 3 cases against the
Awesome.
wall, and you use it, huh?
Awesome. So when I need it, I'll just come over to
Yeah.
your house.
I'll sell it to you, $90.
It's a good deal. I'd buy that.
Yeah.
No,
Can you you do credit?
it is ridiculous when things go, but there must be a
Installment
reason.
plan.
There must
It
be.
is. It's the Koch brothers.
Why?
GP.
Why,
on Georgia Pacific.
Mike? Why do you think it's going up? I mean, is it?
Well, somebody put Arnie said that the paper makers are consolidating. There's fewer companies making paper.
It has to be. I'm
I'm
demand
looking.
has to be lower.
I've just searched paper price going up on Google News. There's something 14 hours ago, but I don't think that's relevant. But there's something from June 12th. Trump's Commerce Department put a tariff on Canadian paper, but that's outgoing.
God, this is our.
It's Trump's fault. I knew it.
Should have voted for Hillary. Would have kept paper prices down.
And from June 13, sellers and buyers expect, I don't know what WFU is, paper prices in Germany to go up. So it looks like it's something global, not something local to us. Interesting.
Freaking Trump.
Well,
that guy.
Boycott Canadian paper.
I agree.
Put tariff on it.
Amazing. But I mean, it's an up and down, ups and downs, and if you keep looking, somebody's going to have a lot of stock on their hand, and they're going to say, okay, but you buy 2 for $40 and get 1 free, and when you do the math, it's going to come about $20-some. Maybe you wait a few months.
Yeah. Let me know when you find that one, Amnon.
I never look. I mean, I'll if you want me, I'll pay attention. I never look
pay attention.
When I get any of these, I just trash them because I don't need paper.
Well, you can always do like most people do and just steal a pack from work.
Yeah,
that's a good solution.
Right.
Well,
so
according to the product price index by commodity for pulp paper, I just put the link there.
Yeah.
Since January, it's been climbing like crazy.
Yeah, but this is a constant upward curve, and it started in February 1973. So
yeah, I see.
People started back then. They knew that Trump was going to get elected, so they started increasing the price in 73.
No, but it's like these invisible things that you never think about. But it's there's definitely something going on.
Yeah.
But it is in an all-time high now, because if you see the last peak was 1995. So.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
It's the deep state.
That's what it is. Wait a
Weird.
minute. Hillary was president in 95, so she must be doing something in the background here. Oh my God! Well,
All right.
I made
it's all that paper that Nixon stole. That's what's been. The prices have been going up since then. It's been a real shame.
Oh well, we'll just have to quit printing.
That's we've pretty much adopted that almost exclusively at the office.
That's because Johnny won't buy any ink.
No, it has nothing to do with ink. Just send everything either via email or via Slack or something else.
I would love to know what paper consumption has done in the last 5 years. I wonder
I
if
think
it has gone down.
even I used to always print out my show notes for Against the Norm just so I could keep something else up on my laptop. And in recent weeks, I've just started reading it off there too. Realize it's just not really useful.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I've probably got a year's supply, but my kids, whenever the price goes up, they just come over here and get some, so they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to stress out over it.
Lock it.
No, they're welcome to it. But they, so we'll see. It's just ridiculous. And we could go to the schools and get some paper over there. They probably
Yeah.
throw it in the trash can.
I find myself printing on both sides now.
Well, I have always done
But
that.
not to save paper, but to save space.
Well, that's paper.
And it's fine for stuff that you're going to archive and keep reports and stuff like that. It's fine. All right, so listen to what they're doing there. UK banks have been told to explain how they would cope with a technology failure or cyber attack. As the Bank of England and the Financial Conduct Authority have given financial firms 3 months to detail how they would respond if their systems fail. Some TSB customers were left unable to access online banking for more than a month following a botched systems upgrade in April. Banks could be ordered to take action if their plans are judged to be poor. The Bank of England and FCA have emphasized that senior management at banks will be held accountable for prolonged disruption to services. Who's telling our banks what to do and what not to do and how to strengthen their resistance to technology failure? Is
It's the
there any?
FDIC, isn't it?
I don't know. Do the is the FDS is that?
Yeah, I mean, all banks are most banks are federally insured.
Yeah, but I mean, the the insurance company for your house doesn't tell you whether to do this or that. They
Well,
tell
it's a
you,
little bit different though with the FDIC from what I understand. I believe when you're an FDIC bank, which not all banks are, there's many credit unions that are not FDIC insured. But I think there's a certain level of standards that you are required to meet when you are FDIC. So if there's I don't know some rule or something and you're FDIC and you have an FDIC, if you're an FDIC bank, you don't follow it, you're in jeopardy of losing your insurance.
yeah, but I'm wondering if they keep on updating it on monthly basis, weekly basis, according to what's really
Well,
going
this is a
in the
government
market.
organization.
So
Nothing,
I wonder.
government organization, so nothing happens on a monthly basis anyway. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think that's how the FDIC works. I don't actually know.
Mike, do you have any
He's not here.
insights? Oh, he's not here. All right.
Arnie has a question. Arne Carl?
Yeah.
About popular browser extension.
Yeah.
Which browser extension? I'm trying to find it on
it's
Google.
it's where Stylish. The
Stylish. Okay. yeah,
extension.
Stylish.
a popular extension available for Chrome and Firefox, which allows for easy customization of any website, now phones home and shares its users' browser history with its corporate parent, according
That's
to
interesting.
some blogger. This prompted Firefox to ban the extension from its add-on site
Good.
and prompt all users to disable it. So it's called Stylish.
Yeah, I know Stylish. It's
Okay.
actually a pretty good add-on, but this is
there you go.
alarming news. Yeah.
The discussion can be seen in the relevant bug report. It says Stylish is no longer a well-meaning product with your best interest at heart. If you use and like Stylish, please uninstall it and switch to an alternative like Stylus,
Yeah.
an offshoot from the good old version of Stylish that works in much of the same way, minus the spyware. Google has pulled the extension from its extension store. This is not the first time Stylish is at the center of a privacy debacle. You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, if they do it and they get, I understand also that no, I mean, bad publicity is publicity any way you look at it. But over here, it's a company that can lose it all, and it's a shame. So what do? They, you know, they can't say, "Oh yeah, we took it off," because that's means they, yeah, we did it.
Yeah,
And
well, that's the Microsoft dance, right? That's what happened to Microsoft
Yeah.
with, what was it, Windows XP? So yeah,
on many things. So it's ridiculous. It is really. Everybody, I think, is looking at the way that Google made their money, and they say, "Well, let's get some of that information so we can do it." Uh, you know, yes, there's a lot of technology that they can take advantage of us, but there's at the same time there are people out there that can use technology to find out what these things are doing.
Yep.
And that is bad. That is really bad. I'm thinking really in Chrome and what with the what is that when you're anonymous
Incognito.
incognito. That should be the default
Well,
session.
I mean, yes and no. When you do incognito, though, you don't have any of your browser presets. You don't have any of your
That's-
favorites, none of your passwords.
no, that's
Th-
true, but that's the idea behind the containers that we talked about. That's
Yeah.
exactly this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that.
Well, that's the thing. I'm using, so I'll just give an example. So, right, Google, Gmail, stuff like that, some personal login stuff that I go through, that goes through uh, um, a single container of personal things like social networks and stuff like that. Shopping is done on a separate container, right? And everything else is actually a temporary container, something that once I close, it's gone. If there's a site that I re-log into it, then I put it on a permanent container. But this way, every session is going to go away, last no longer than 50 minutes after I close it, so I can still go back and undo the close of the window.
Mhm.
But it's that. If you have an Android phone, Firefox has Firefox Focus, which is a slimmed down, trimmed down version of their browser, which is always incognito, always a private session, right? So I have both. I have Firefox and I have Firefox Focus. The default is Focus. Everything opens in Focus. Everything opens and closes quickly and gone. If I need something that needs to be remembered, then I'll open the other browser. But yeah, it's a habit that you need to enforce on yourself.
But does it take know-how to invoke these
Not
options?
really.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay.
It's containers are not on by default yet. I think because it requires an understanding, right? Everybody's used to use the browser in a certain way today. And if you'll close a tab and you open a new tab and suddenly you're not connected, it's going to push people away from it,
Mhm.
right? So it's not on by default, because that would annihilate the users, those who are not reading, those who are not following what's new. But I do believe that they'll get to a point where this is becoming more common. The discussion is becoming more common, and they'll get you to a point where, hey, let's turn this on, right? They'll give you the question at the beginning, and then after that it'll be on by default.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
you can call it beta testing,
Yeah.
and they're trying it. Yeah, it's fine. It's all right.
Oh yeah.
Talking about browsers, the release of Google Chrome 67 has reopened a download bomb bug that was exploited by tech support scammers last winter and which had been fixed with the release of Chrome 65 in March 2018. Furthermore, the issue also appears to affect other browsers such as Firefox, Vivaldi, Opera, and Brave, according to tests carried out by Bleeping Computers. The download bomb trick is a technique that involves initiating hundreds or thousands of downloads to freeze a browser on a specific page. Across the years, there have been multiple variations of download bombs, and they have often been used by tech support scammers to trap users on shady sites that tried to lure victims into calling a tech support number to have their browser unlocked. Over the winter, security researchers from Malwarebytes noticed a tech support scam campaign that employed a new download bomb to trap users on its shady sites. So, what they do is you go to the site and they start hundreds or thousands of download sessions on the site, and you can't get out of it. And a lot of people that don't understand it will say, okay, we have a problem. Now, the site may say, okay, you've been uh, compromised and you need to call this number. And they don't want you to be able to go back or do anything. So they sort of like, that's what they were, the word trap you, because something is going on the background. So this is why when you see something like this, right away, either, I mean, if you don't know what you do, if you're not very tech savvy, turn off the computer. Turn it off. Press the button. If you're a little more techy, then you can do a Control-Alt-Delete, go to the task manager, and kill the browser. But they have all kind of ways to trap it. One thing you should never do, and that's click the X to exit the browser, because they will program the X to say, yeah, I want you to do such and such. So we said it again and again here. If you are not that tech savvy, the chances that you're going to damage your operating system by turning it off abruptly like that are much less than the chances of you getting infected with or taken advantage of by these guys. So it's interesting that they fixed it and then it opened it up again.
Oh, that's basic software configuration. So when I mean, Google Chrome is a very complex piece of software, right?
Yeah.
It has a lot of parts and a lot of people working in tandem, pushing changes up to something called the trunk. The trunk is where the final version is going to be created from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a tree with a lot of branches, and the main trunk is the software that's going to be issued eventually. And there's in a project in the size of Google Chrome, there's probably something called a configuration manager, which probably a team of those. And their job is to make sure that mistakes like this actually don't happen. That's part of their job. But their job is to make sure that everything that is pushed into the trunk, up to the trunk, is stable, is working, and it's current, right? Because what happens is on release 65, right?
They
Somebody
fixed it,
branched
yeah.
out, fixed it, and pushed it to the trunk, and that was probably also a very rushed job because it was identified, detected. It was important. The critical bugs, they tend to take precedence on other features, for example. So they push it up the trunk, but there are probably branches for that same piece, that same module that have been branched out from the trunk before 65.
Mhm.
And
But
by missing something like that, right? That's how a bug can resurface. It's there's a lot of methodologies that should prevent this from happening, but eventually a person decides what to push, what to
allow and what not to allow.
merge into the trunk, right? So
Yeah.
uh,
Well, the point is that Chrome 67 is
is risky.
vulnerable to it. So I don't know if they, I mean, we see updates all the time, and I know the Vivaldi just updated. So check it, and if you have, I mean, when you go with Chrome to check for updates, or when you go to the help, it does it right away. It checks.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they have a fix for that by now.
I'm guessing, yeah, by the fact that it's being published, that there's already a fix.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm trying to find information about this as well.
Well, I mean, just go to Chrome
Yeah,
and
the first thing is we need to find the bug.
well,
Microsoft Tech Support Scam. I only find about the scams, but not
interesting.
about the
See,
fix.
mine is 67, and it says that it's the latest. So they don't have a.
Well, it'll be a fix within 67. I don't think they'll release a major version just for that upgrade. So
Yeah, and they don't specify which build it is, but anyway.
okay, here I found the bug.
So it's interesting, and this is a, I mean, they can put somebody on it, and probably within a day, within hours, they can fix it and send it out. Hopefully they did that. Nick,
Oh,
which version are you using? Did you
I'm
look?
not sure. No.
I mean, I don't know if this is also a difference between 32-bit and 64-bit,
I mean, they're all the same.
but it's
From 67.
yeah.
67 is the last one, and
Uh,
I found the bug entry,
But
the bug discussion,
Gal, do you see anything there about which
whether it's
build?
pushed.
67 dot something 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 dot something.
So let's
It's
see.
39, I believe. What I was seeing.
Yeah. Browser hang in M67 with excessive download attempts. That's the bug.
No.
The bug number is.
No, never mind the bug number.
Yeah.
The
I'm trying
version.
to see if
you have to
they
find the
had
bug
it
number so
to-
you can find the fix.
Okay, the target to fix this is going to be 68.
Oh.
So
Oh, okay. So it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was found in 67, but the target is 68. Let's see the schedule for 68.
4 months.
67, 67. No, there's no, I can't see a schedule for that.
That's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, at least people that are listening know that there's a problem, so you know what to do if it's suddenly you're stuck on a page and you can't get out of it. That's what's going on. It's the download bomb.
Well, I think 68 is already in beta. So if you're on the beta stream,
Well,
you'll have that fix. So that means that it's being tested.
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I forgot also to mention that Spence is traveling again, so he's not. That's why he's not here. So there's not going to be specials either. You guys, I mean, me too, to a point, but you use your phone all the time, and you have hundreds of apps that you're using. According to the Wall Street Journal, hundreds of app developers have access to millions of inboxes belonging to Gmail users. The developers reportedly receive access to messages from Gmail users who signed up for things like price comparison services or automated travel itinerary planners. Some of these companies train software to scan the email while others enable their workers to pore over private messages. I mean, it's nothing new that they can do that. But it's interesting that they're talking now with all the problems that we're having on social media. They're mentioning it. So developers may have access to your email box if you signed up or gave permission to do something like price comparison. And this is not the only thing. Price comparison services or automated travel itinerary planners. It's getting really to the point where it's like somebody is in your pocket the whole time, or in your head, or in your whatever, in your eyes, whatever you look at, whatever you do, somebody else is doing it too. Uh, Bad stuff. Bad stuff.
So you got to be careful when you click give permission or
Oh,
allow
yeah.
permission.
Absolutely. You really need to read what you're giving permission to. And if somebody is going to give you a deal on, say, if you check this, then we'll be able to do that for you. Nothing comes free. They are doing something.
I mean, this is the Facebook thing. It's the same.
Mhm.
This is the Facebook thing again. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. Exactly what got them in trouble. A whole bunch of little apps running around having access to everybody's information. And the next thing you know,
The next thing you know,
it's
they've
being
got, yeah.
used. Yeah.
Now, this is even scarier. Some Samsung smartphones are randomly sending pictures from the device to a user's contacts without explicit permission.
What?
According to users and media outlets, it says users are complaining about the issue on Reddit and the company's official forum. One user says his phone sent all his photos to his girlfriend. So the messages are being sent through Samsung's default texting app, Samsung Messages. And the photos are being sent as SMS messages. According to the reports, the Messages app does not even show users that files have been sent. Many just find out after they get a response from a recipient of the random photos sent to them. Samsung told news outlets it was aware of the issue and was looking into it.
Yeah.
You keep all the pictures on your Samsung, and I mean, they found out about Samsung. Who knows if other phones don't do that? But I mean, I may have used my phone over the years my cell phone, my smartphone as a camera, maybe a handful. No, but no, maybe 10 times. I
Wow.
don't know. I just don't. I don't do it. But if you do take a lot of pictures, you can get in trouble. I mean,
Emmett Till
think.
actually gets his photos developed at the drugstore. Walks around with this disposable camera. So he's
No, I
privacy,
mean,
full privacy,
I
except for
have
the people that are developing them.
when I need to take a picture. I mean, I have a camera. I have a digital camera, so I do it with that because I have the cable and I can download it. I know all about it. So but
Come
it's.
on.
I mean,
The
think.
smartphone camera is always there. That's why it's such
I
an
understand.
But it's
effective
not.
tool.
But it's not in his case. It's not always there. He doesn't keep
It's.
his phone on him.
I don't even think about it. I never thought. I never think about. Oh yeah, I have a camera in my pocket. Never do. And what happens with people that don't have unlimited text?
Well, everybody does. I don't think.
I
don't
don't
think.
know.
Well, and plus,
Maybe.
if it's this is Samsung, but
Yeah.
on iMessage, that's not even considered a text.
Hopefully it doesn't.
No, iMessage is over data.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that just shows you never use the bloatware on the phone.
So I buy an iPhone, so you don't have to deal with.
And it's a problem to.
Default text messaging app that never works. I mean, I went through a dozen text messaging apps on my last Android phone to find one that actually did what the hell I wanted, which was send a text message.
Mm-hmm. And that's on a memory card, right?
That's on a memory card.
I mean, the stuff that we keep, the pictures,
It's
anything.
on the flash memory.
Depends how big your internal storage is. If you have a phone with a big internal drive, then no. If you don't, then yeah, sometimes it's on a micro SD or whatever.
Yeah.
Type of
So
expansion
here's
you have.
another scary story, and but I don't know how many people do this. A recent study conducted by academics from the University of Hertfordshire in UK has revealed that almost 2/3 of secondhand memory cards still contain remnants of personal data from previous owners. For their study, researchers analyzed 100 secondhand SD and micro SD memory cards purchased from eBay, conventional auctions, secondhand shops, and other sources over a 4-month period. All in all, researchers said the memory cards they recovered were previously used in smartphones and tablets. But some cards were also using cameras, sat-nav systems, and even drones. The research team says the analysis process consists of creating a bit-by-bit image of the card and then using freely available software to see if they could recover any data from the card. Their efforts were successful. So, I mean, I as a rule, I never sold or gave away a hard drive that I was using on my computer.
Right.
Hard drives are cheap enough. Keep it, it's a backup. When you're ready to get rid of it, a 5-pound hammer does a great job on it. I don't know who. Well, I'm not. I shouldn't say I don't know who would sell it because I bought some used SD cards for the dash cam and stuff like that because they were cheap. But I never thought about doing that and trying to find out. Will I sell it again? I doubt it. I mean, something that you paid $7 for. What are you going to sell it for? But it's something to think about. All these things. I mean, you take pictures, and I mean, you have the phone. A lot of people, I know people that went to get a new phone, and they just give the old phone to the carrier. They just gave it to them. I said, "Why did you give it? I mean, it's yours."
I never get rid of my old phones. I refuse to sell them.
It's
That stuff still lurks on there, guaranteed.
yeah.
I've got
So
my last iPhone, my last 2 iPhones, and my last 2 Android phones.
yeah,
I refuse to sell them.
absolutely. You
Give them to
never know
anybody.
what's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Not that there's anything super secret on there. It's just
Well,
when you're doing the factory reset of the iOS, the Apple phone,
mhm,
what is it actually resetting? Are my contacts still on there? My email? I mean,
right. You don't know.
Well,
That's the
no.
problem. You don't know. You were saying, Gal?
You- You're talking about whether the data itself is being preserved somehow. It's not when you do a factory reset. But I think what they're describing is most of these SD cards they are formatted in FAT format, right?
Yeah.
The old DOS era format, it's still there. And to quickly format such a drive, all you need to do is just overwrite what's called the tables, the FAT
The
tables.
fat. Yeah.
Right. So the data itself is never written over. And because the data itself is never written over, um, it is possible to retrieve the content. The actual digits, the actual bits are still representing the data there. With a factory reset, it's similar, but because especially on iPhones, everything is internal, right? The only way to get to that data is to physically pry out
Yeah,
uh,
you really
the
have
memory.
to
Yeah.
know what you're doing, and you have to have, yeah, it's
But
not
let's put it this way: passing it on to a family member is not a big deal, right? But
Yeah.
selling it over to someone else, there's a risk, but it's a limited one. But the memory, what you described about second-hand memory, I've never looked into that. So
yeah.
yeah, that's a bizarre concept to me, but I get what they tested, and it's definitely viable. It's really easy to get out that data. It is really easy also to properly format the memory card though. So maybe that's what we need to tell people. Just need to find a piece of software that can write over
Low
the
level
entire card.
format.
Yeah. Well,
No,
it's not
yeah.
exactly low level, but it needs to be it needs to write over everything. So never choose a quick format if you're gonna pass on the memory.
Yeah, to pass it to a family member that is going to use it. And even when I give some, and I did attempt, when the time comes and you don't throw this away, you don't sell it to anybody, you use it, and when if it breaks, just bring it back and let me see what's wrong with it. And I always take the hard drive out and either destroy it and then give the computer to my junk collector. Um, we were hearing story about the MacBooks, right? That Apple doing this and Apple doing that. At long last, Apple admitted to its customers that its MacBook and MacBook Pro keyboards designs are so flawed and prone to sticking or dead keys as originally reported by the outline in October, and that it will cover the cost of repairs beyond the product's normal warranty.
Wow, how nice of them,
Well,
$2,500 for a computer,
right.
and the keyboard
And the
they
keyboard
build is
sticks.
flawed, and how nice of Apple to I
And
mean,
not
what a
just
great group of
yeah,
guys over there. That's just incredible.
not just flawed, so flawed. I mean,
How great at your retirement fund in a $3,600 laptop. Oh, what a deal. Oh, and the keyboard doesn't
Well, let's
work.
be fair, Nick. There are a lot of companies that would do exactly the same thing, overcharge you and do nothing about it. So at
well,
least give them half a prop.
I don't know.
the admission comes after the company has been hit with no fewer than 3 class action suits
Well, that would help.
concerning the computers and their ultra thin butterfly switch keyboards. While the repair and replacement program costs and notes that Apple will repair both single keys as well as whole keyboards where necessary. It doesn't note whether the replacements will be different. Improved design that will prevent the problem from happening again and again and again.
This is the these are the laptops that if you remember, Andrew had a serious with the newest MacBook that he purchased. I don't remember which one it is.
Yeah,
The
we're not
keyboard
talking
is
yesterday.
No, this was like I want to say this is
Yeah,
2015
14.
MacBook. I remember when
Yeah.
he purchased it, he had nothing. The keyboard would just randomly start going off, and it was just
Yep.
could never figure it out. And it's this line of MacBooks that have been out for years now. I just saw him complaining on Twitter the other day about it, about how he was having problems with something else on it. And the one he bought wasn't a cheap one either.
None of them is cheap. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, they got their low. I mean, you can get a MacBook new from Apple for. Mike, how much was that MacBook Air that you bought? $1,400, maybe $1,200.
1,500 by the time with
1,500.
Apple Care and everything on it.
Okay, so $1,500. But I mean, you can very easily spend close to $3,000 on one. Not hard. I mean, you're
Not even
not.
hard.
No, you're not getting some, crazy top of line. You can easily spend $2,700 on one.
And if you take your teenager in there and look at one and you don't buy the $5,000 one, they hate you and you're depriving them of any meaningful position in life by not getting them.
Is that what I need to do?
That's absolutely.
Can I do that as an adult? Can I call my
Absolutely.
mother and ask her to buy me a MacBook?
Tell them get their credit card and get you a MacBook.
That will do.
Here's something about phones and tablets, maybe something. In the coming weeks, videos streamed using cellular data will be limited to 480p resolution. A move that carriers including T-Mobile, Verizon, and Sprint have implemented for certain plans in the past. Videos streamed over Wi-Fi won't be affected by the change, and Comcast says that it will offer the option to stream 720p video over cellular data for an added fee later this year. So until that plan becomes available, customers who would like to continue streaming video at 720 will be able to do so for no charge. They'll just have to call the carrier in order to set that up. Additionally,
Who is this?
Huh?
What carrier is this?
That's Comcast, T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint.
I was reading this. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, they want to save bandwidth. Now, that's why I was even. But wait, let me finish this. Call carrier notice. Additionally, users with an unlimited plan will see their hotspot speeds capped at 600 kbps.
Yep. Verizon's already doing that with their Verizon. I don't know who has Verizon here, but the Verizon unlimited hotspot is useless.
Wow.
It's useless. We tried using it down here. Now there was probably a lot of network congestion, but we tried using this down here in Southport over the 4th of July to hotspot a computer, and I couldn't even load Google on the hotspot or on the Google on the laptop connected to the hotspot. The connection was just so slow.
Wow.
And
Okay,
it did
so
eventually load, but it wasn't of a speed that it was useful for anything.
so here's my question though. Since I don't do stuff like this, you use your phone all the time. Is there any reason to watch a video any higher than 480 on that little screen?
Well, I think it depends what you're watching.
Okay.
I mean,
What would you watch that you would want higher like 720? And you say 480 is not enough. I'm
Okay.
just wondering.
Here's a great example. So Mike's into woodworking. If Mike's out in his garage,
Yeah.
well, not his garage, but he doesn't have Wi-Fi. If Mike's out in his garage and he's following some guide on how to, I don't know, cut something or do something, and it's something that's very detailed. That's when you'd up your resolution from probably 480 to 720 or 1080. Same thing if you're watching like a which I've had to do in the past, watch a tutorial on how to do something with a computer if the only computer I have isn't working, and you need to be able to read what is on the screen and what they're clicking on. Sometimes you got to bump up the quality a little bit.
Okay.
But for most,
So there
most
are
things,
reasons. There
I
are
mean,
reasons.
it's the same reason on your computer. You can watch most videos at 480 and you can't tell the difference unless it's something where you need to read a screen capture or a screenshot, or they're trying to show you something that's very detailed. I mean, if you watch this show in 480 versus 720 due to the lack of, we're not showing small text, you probably wouldn't tell the difference. And if you could, it wouldn't really matter a whole lot. I mean, there's nothing that's super fine detail. But Amna, great example. Our infection podcast, we show websites with text on it. That's something where you'd probably want to watch it in 720 or 1080 so that you could actually read, if you're trying to read some of that text. Because on 480, it's going to be distorted.
All right. Gal, you were going to say something about this?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is the screens on these smartphones, the newer ones, right? They're very, very detailed. They're very high resolution. So you can definitely gain by watching a higher resolution image. So now keep in mind, when you're holding a phone in front of you, right?
Yeah.
You're basically seeing a much clearer picture with a lot more detail than a 60-inch screen that's showing 180p, which is 3 feet from you, right? So while the screen size itself is small, because of the high resolution, you get a lot more. And because it's so close to your face, you're a lot more immersed in the viewing than anything else. So even if all you want to do is just watch a Netflix movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that resolution means something, and you do see the difference.
All right. Well, I mean, like I said, I don't look at videos on a phone, and I know I see Katie laying down on the couch here sometimes, and the phone is right there, and it's for hours. So what do you? I'm just watching videos on YouTube. Wow. I don't know.
I don't very often watch. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched something long term on a phone. I don't know what word I'm trying to look for. Like watch something I actually wanted to watch, unless something I needed to watch on my phone.
Well, it's never about need, right?
Well, no, but I mean, there has been situations where I'm stuck with something like something computer wise, and I need to load up some type of YouTube video to watch what the solution is. That's me watching video on my phone 95% of the time. I can't stand watching stuff on my phone. Plus, I got to carry on this stupid dongle to listen to anything because Apple felt the need to get rid of their headphone jack. So that's a pain as well.
Well, I have these, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're wireless Bluetooth. They connect to my work PC. They connect to my phone. And I find that I use my phone for media for a lot stuff. So once you're wireless, maybe that changes a bit.
I refuse to use Bluetooth. I'm very stubborn about Bluetooth. I can't stand charging things.
Well, that's to each their own.
You should see this table next to my bed. I've got this this multi-use charger thing. It's got 8 USB ports. All of them have got things plugged into it, and it's got 2 regular receptacles, both which have power bricks. And it charges the Apple Watch and the backup power supplies and the phones and the wireless phone charger, the regular Lightning phone charger. I mean, it's just the iPad, the other iPad.
So what's one more thing?
I don't have any other ports. I'm out of ports.
Oh, so this costs a lot of money, but this comes with you can see it, I think. Maybe you can see it here. You see, that's why you need high definition, Amnon. Yeah, you see the charging port there?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
micro USB.
Well, no, below the micro USB, it's hidden. So let's see.
You need to have
Yeah,
one
you
that
see.
has
Yeah.
solar panel that you put on
So
top.
it comes into the docking station is back to work, but it comes into a docking station and it just sits ready to be pulled on, and it lasts like for 10 hours, so it's not a problem. 10 hours of actual use.
That's the one thing I don't like about the Apple Watch is charging it. There's the charger on it is so weird. I guess I need to buy a little stand for it to sit on.
Yeah,
I
have an
really
Android
use it.
one, and it's the same problem. I do have a stand for it,
Yeah.
but it's funky.
I just have a little microfiber cloth because it ends up scratching the table or scratching the watch because it just kind of flails around on the table when it's charging because it can't be off and charging, it has to be on. So it buzzes and stuff whenever there's notification.
Oh well, but I mean, just
First world problems. Let's just say that.
Oh, definitely.
My wireless charger is a real pain for my Apple Watch.
Oh well, that's okay. That's all right. That's fine.
So Amnon, when are they going to exploit wireless chargers?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Hey, we were told that they were hacking voting machines that were only connected via power. So I mean, they've already hacked the regular electricity too. You know, they're embedding things within the hertz. Gotta be careful.
Now, to all you guys that I've got some bad news to couple of you that I know are watching adult stuff.
Who, me?
Some
No.
adult content creators on crowdfunding site Patreon are being suspended due to the aggressive material suggestive material they produce.
Amnon.
Yeah.
You've got this stream on channel 1 flagged as 18 plus.
That is because no, let me tell you something. That's because Mixer, which is channel 1, makes you do that.
Right.
They broke they suspended the account, and I called in, and apparently they watched some show that they said no, the Vietnam show.
Oh,
they said no. Your channel has to be 18 plus. I said okay if that's what it takes. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's a big deal, but I thought it was curious.
So the platform said that they are increasing efforts to review content due to payment processor pressure. Motherboard reports that in late 2017, Patreon expanded its adult content guidelines to include stricter guidelines for bestiality, incest, sexual, blah, 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 blah. At the time, it resulted in suspensions and bans of maybe adult content creators whose work Patreon previously permitted, but no longer fell in line with new guidelines.
So, I wonder who their processor is. I haven't heard that part.
Well, that's Visa, MasterCard.
It's Stripe or PayPal or somebody's the regular processor.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, if it's something that they don't want done, and they can say, okay, we don't want to support that.
Oh, they've also cut down on a lot of political people on Patreon too. They're under a lot of fire and pressure recently.
Of course, I mean that may just be an excuse. They can say that that's what the reason. We don't know that that's the reason, really. And
a lot of people making a lot of money on Patreon, though. Looking at it the other day, the top creators making like 50 grand a month or something on Patreon. It's incredible.
Netflix.
That's great, I think.
The what?
I think that's great.
Oh, I think it's absolutely great. It's just that's crazy that's being done on
there. Netflix may be introducing a new higher tier of service known as Ultra. The new tier would allow 4 devices to receive Ultra HD video and audio streaming simultaneously. According to Italian blogger, Netflix currently has 3 subscriptions. $7.99, $10.99, and $13.99. Basic allows users to watch Netflix on one screen at a time. Standard allows viewing on 2 screens, and Premium allows 4 screens. I don't know what they mean. Oh, it says screens can be TVs, laptops, tablets, or smartphones. We continuously test new things at Netflix, and these tests typically vary in length of time. Netflix spokesman said. In this case, we are testing slightly different price point and features to better understand how consumers value Netflix. So I know with Netflix, you can have multiple people watch.
Well, that's what they're talking about. When you have the basic, you can only have one person watching on that account at a time. One connection watching at that from that account at a time. That's the number of screens.
Well, I know that Hannah put hers on our TV, and when you go in, there are 5.
That's profiles. That's not watching at the same time.
That's what I mean. Profiles. Okay.
Well, remember when Netflix used to be $8 a month and you used to be able to stream it on 5 different platforms and in HD? Now the $15 a month one doesn't even get you HD streaming. And what a joke.
Well, that's another cord to cut.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I haven't used Netflix in at least 6 months. They've made their service so unaffordable.
Yeah, I've unsubscribed as well.
I mean, what? It's incredible. I mean, literally the $12 a month package supports streaming on
You've
one channel.
unsubscribed from Netflix?
What?
Oh yeah.
You're going to miss the Barack and Michelle show.
If I really want to watch it, I'll find a way.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Real quick on this Patreon thing, because I just went on the website. The top Patreon on the site is making $100,117 a month.
Sheesh.
Sweet.
They have 22,465 patrons.
Who is that, Obama?
I don't know what it is. It's some.
Wow.
I don't even know what it is.
Is it the bestiality thing?
No, it's some type of podcast. I think it's about. I think it's a music podcast. I'm not really sure.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Some serious cash.
All right, so technology.
Technology.
Yeah.
My daughter-in-law, who is type 1 diabetic, just got a new CGM, which is, I believe, continuous glucose monitor, so that she can monitor her sugar level at any time.
Right.
It is tied in with her iWatch and her iPhone, as well as her husband's. So my son comes in last night. They just got it working yesterday. He comes in, shows me his watch, clicks one button, and he knows exactly what his wife's sugar level is, which
Dang.
allows her to set alarms when it goes too high, too low, and things of that nature. And eventually it will tie into an automatic pump so that she doesn't have to get up and give herself injections in the middle of the night. So anyway,
Yeah.
and they're going to come over there and show it to you
The-
unless you've already seen it.
The only problem with any of these is it's great that you can boost your insulin when it goes high. The problem with these is, what do you do when it goes low?
Same thing you currently
See?
do.
The what?
The same thing you currently do.
Yeah, you have to get up and take glucose somehow.
Yeah, but you know immediately. You don't know an hour or 2
Well,
hours or 3
yeah.
hours after.
Yeah.
So, just taking 3-4 grapes is enough to level it up. You don't need to do something extreme.
I imagine it monitors trends, and it will eventually learn that if your glucose level is dropping at X number per minute, then it knows where you're headed and can warn you before you get to the valley, because the peaks and the valleys are where the organ damage occurs, from what I
Right.
understand.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, it's going in a way that is it's unbelievable that.
All right. I'm told that the pump has glucose with it.
So if it has glucose, that's great.
We're
Mm.
ordering it Monday.
Yeah, if they have glucose and they can just put a little bit of glucose into then that's really going to keep it.
Yeah, stable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. That's a different story.
That is sweet.
Yeah, it's sweet, literally.
Amnon,
Mm.
what is the name of this group in Apex that helps people with diabetes?
Uh, Charles Ray Foundation.
You need to keep that information around. John's asking about it, which means he has some interest in it. I think this organization, from what I can tell, is a pretty good group.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Charles Ray.
John, we'll
Um,
find out for you.
huh?
John wanted to know what the brand is, and they've left to go to church, so we don't know.
The
We don't
brand of
the CGM and the pump.
I was reading something. I think there's only one company that's doing it. I think it's the ah, oh shoot. Tronics.
And
Something
also,
Tronics. I can't remember.
while we're on computers, 2K Diabetes,
Yeah.
Diabetes 2K now. There we go. While we're doing that, there's some research that shows that there's a
Yeah,
a
Dexcom. I read about them.
Omnipod pump. So
And
anyway, it may be one of those, John. We don't know. We'll look
yeah.
into it and let you know.
Medtronics. That's it, John. Medtronics.
Yeah.
My daughter has an Omnipod, but that's got nothing to do with that. I mean, it's
So
straight
this could
pump.
be life, because I mean this is a horrible disease, absolutely horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, they come up with more and more.
Well, I was going to tell you is that there is supposedly they're discovering by accident that the um, there's a vaccine that they give you for tuberculosis.
Yeah.
That actually stabilizes the high and low swings for type 1s.
They were saying that it will reverse.
I'm not that optimistic, but if they can get rid of the peaks and valleys, from what I understand, you can get rid of those instances where the damage is done.
Yeah.
All progress is good progress. I don't understand why this problem hasn't been solved already, but that's just me.
Because they're making a lot of money.
Well, yeah. You want to know the real reason? That's exactly why.
I don't believe it.
No,
I don't believe. You know what? Sure, it may be true. I don't believe it. And all I can tell you is, if that is true, there are some people who are going to burn in the hottest areas of hell.
I'm convinced it's absolutely true.
Mike, a company called Lilly. That's what they do. It's a huge company.
I get that, but I'm going to tell you that I have done work with some drug companies. I have talked with the people who discover the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you that and there's no doubt in my mind, of these 3 or 4 people that I knew very, very well, if one of them discovered a cure or an excellent treatment for diabetes, knowing what it does to people, they would risk going to jail. They'd do like Q. They'd get the information out there without their name on it, knowing that if they got caught, they would be in serious trouble.
Oh.
There's no doubt about it. There's no question about it. You know, I won't get into it, but there are people out there who would do that sort of thing.
It will come, Mike, but it's not going to be tomorrow.
Says who?
Huh?
Says who? I mean, you look at these things, and then you look at, for example, for years, we used to cut people open to cut out their ulcers because we couldn't treat them. Then
Yeah.
we found out that it's just a bacteria, and you can give them an antibiotic and it goes away. That happened overnight. I mean, it literally happened overnight. No new drugs necessary.
I mean, it's going to look like it happened overnight, but it's
not overnight for the people with the problem.
Yeah. We'll
I've got
see.
a friend's son who is 39, actually probably 41 now, and he's been type 1 for many, many years, and he's starting to see some of the effects on it because he didn't to take care of himself.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the patient needs to take care of themselves.
Right.
to keep
But
up with it. It's easier said than done in many cases.
absolutely, because I mean, some nights she's up all night. We're
Yep.
checking her blood every hour to see where she's going.
Yep.
I mean, one day she came in and it's been a long time ago. She came in, we were sitting around talking, and she just came in, sat down with us, and just started crying. She says, "I need to be around someone. My sugar's high and I can't get it down." And then she finally gets it down, then it goes too low. And she's been dealing with this for 20 years. I mean,
Yep.
she knows what she's doing.
That's where the pump is really pump and
I mean,
and
she was scared she was getting ready to go into a diabetic coma.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's hell. But I'm glad to see things happening. Although I will tell you that if people who have a type 1 need to be very, very careful, because these drug companies, where there is a conspiracy to screw people, they're going to keep jacking up the prices on some of these drugs that you have to have, knowing that you'll buy them. I think we talked about the show that I asked everybody to watch on, I believe it was on Netflix. And what is the name? I told you the name of it, Dirty Money. It's a show on drugs with this Martin Shkreli and some of these guys,
Mm-hmm.
where there's a disease called Wilson's disease that's liver or kidney, I forget which one, does not process copper. They have this medication, been around for years. When you take the medication, it has little to no side effects. It solves the problem. You have a full life, no detrimental impact. And when the pills were originally out, they were cost about $1 a piece. You only took 2 or 3, 4 a day. Having said that, now to take the drug is $278,000 a year. Without it, you die. It's a chelating agent. So having said that, I believe people say, "What would you do if it happened to you?" And I said, "Well, I would have a lifetime supply as about the time they arrest me." So I'll leave it at that. And they have jacked up the cost of insulin horribly. I don't remember what the deal is, but it seems to me like now the average type 1 would be spending, without insurance, I believe it's $700 a month on insulin.
I'm trying here to give the information to
Charles
John.
Ray Foundation.
Yeah.
C3.
There-
There you go. Save that one, John. That's a good one. That's a good group.
And Susan was saying there that the insurance did not want to cover. The insurance will not cover from one pump to the next unless there's 5 years in between. We
Yeah,
found out with Hannah.
well,
After
they
5 years, they'll allow you to get a different a new one, different one, whatever.
Well, they ought to burn in hell too.
Oh. All right. So you guys like iPhone. Mike, you have an iPhone.
I know.
Nick, you have an iPhone.
I do.
Gal, you have an iPhone.
No,
No?
never,
Oh,
Never.
okay.
never.
Me neither.
You ever had an iPhone?
Nope.
Really?
I tried an iPad once. Never again.
You're too much of a tinker to have an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
And nobody in the family is allowed to have an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
Well, when daddy pays, hey.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So the first iPhone to shed its headphone jack was the iPhone 7, which launched in 2016. Now it seems like the Lightning port may be the next to go.
That's
Jeez.
good.
And that's
Come
from
on, that's good.
CNET. It says that Apple has considered removing the Lightning port on the iPhone 10, citing unnamed people familiar with the company's work. While earlier rumors suggested that Apple would remove the Lightning port in favor of USB-C, Apple goal may be to remove all ports entirely. And Bloomberg report is about the challenges that Apple faces with its AirPower wireless charger. But it also shares some details about Apple's vision for a wireless future. It says that Apple designers eventually hope to remove most of the external ports and buttons on the iPhone, including the charger. according to people familiar with the company's work. During the development of the iPhone 10, Apple removing the wired charging system entirely. That wasn't feasible at the time because wireless charging was still slower than traditional methods. Including a wireless charger with new iPhones would also significantly raise the price of the phone. Significantly? Really?
Yeah, I mean the phone was only $1,100. I
Yeah.
mean, what are they going to do? Raise another 150 on me? But the problem with the
So-
wireless charging is it does absolutely kill the battery over time because of the heat.
Well,
And there's no way around that. So this is another great thing for Apple. That more planned obsolescence built into their devices. Now they'll make the battery physically not be able to operate due to all the heat. It'll be great.
I don't buy it. No, there's no way around it. It just needs to be done differently. But it's they always take these risky jumps, and up until now, it always paid off for them.
yeah,
So,
it always does because their fanboys go for it.
Well, it's their families go for it. And in my opinion, Android developers and all the Android phones have yet to make something that's comparable for it. Now there is things. The
Yeah.
OnePlus is out there. There's a couple of other flagship phones, but I mean, I gave Android a good old college try, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Couldn't stand the nonsense of Android. Plus, iMessage has got such a control on people. I mean, it's almost a social status thing. All
Yeah.
all
that's
joking
the reason
aside.
not to use it.
Well, it is and it isn't, depending on, you get annexed from your group text messages. If you come in with a green text message, you're out of the group because
Yeah.
you lose all the
You
iMessage
gotta choose
functionality.
your friends better.
I'm just saying.
Oh no, I
You're just
I
saying.
understand. That's how they got everyone.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and they're very smart with it. They built the ecosystem, and now, I mean, iMessage is almost single-handedly the reason I will not switch away from Apple.
So
Well-
see, that's one of the reasons that I will never switch into Apple.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
totally say if I was on the outside, I'd be in the exact same boat.
iPhones suck, but not nearly as badly as Androids do.
I mean, Mike, you and I were having a conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
The office down here in Wilmington has got some shoddy cell coverage because the suite bumps up against an elevator. We did a FaceTime audio call. Great, built right into the phone. Perfect. No, nothing else. No Skype, no Google Hangouts, nothing. It was just built right into the phone. Worked perfectly.
I got a question. So,
Yeah.
Gall, this would be a good one for you. My wife's has a Note 4, and she noticed yesterday that it's not charging, or 2
Okay.
days ago, whenever it was. She tried multiple cables, multiple chargers. It's not charging. We put the older battery back in, same thing. We've discovered that the problem is actually the port on the phone probably needs resoldering.
Probably.
If it were an iPhone, I would know where to take it to get it repaired. Where do I take this to get it repaired?
At the mall, the same place.
Yeah, probably at the same place. They'll
Apple
just
Store
ask you
doesn't-
to leave it there, and
The
they'll
Apple
order the
Store is not
parts.
gonna fix it.
No, not Apple Store, but there's a
That's
lot
where I
of
would take my iPhone.
well, there's a lot of like
Mike at the Cary Village.
I know plenty of these
Carytown-
local guys doing it.
yeah.
There's a guy over at Cary Town Center right there when you enter, and it says, "You break it, we fix it."
Yeah, have you checked their prices?
Yeah, I'll bring
No,
it to you.
well,
Frankie.
look. Now you didn't say where can I fix this cheap.
Amnon, you don't even need to ask that question, because if you go in there and
There is
charge is
nothing.
$3/4,
There's
we can't
nothing.
talk at the same time.
Nothing.
If you go in there and the repair price is $3/4 the price of a new one, I don't think that's
Yeah,
worthwhile.
I understand. And there is nothing easy and cheap about resoldering a port. I looked at one of my phones that had that, and I said, "Oh, I don't know how they even do this."
For someone with the equipment and a magnifying glass and the
Sure.
experience, it's trivial.
Then go to iFixia and check exactly what to do. I mean, the part itself is rather cheap on eBay, and you can do it yourself, but
I don't
It's
have
always
the magnifying glass, nor the equipment, nor the experience.
so that's what you pay for when you go to that guy
No,
in
I
the
mean, I've
the
got a
morning.
guy.
What about triangular cellular repair?
Well, they do, but they've gotten expensive lately. I mean, I've got a guy I use here. He's great. I don't remember the name. He changed the name of his business. He's less than a mile away. He does a great job. But I mean, all these guys are struggling to make a living because they try to come in and they try to undercut everybody and do things cheaper, and they really don't adequately capture what it costs them to do business. So
Yeah.
they end up disappearing or raising the price and all. So
I've got some sad news from social media.
Oh.
It is official that Stumble Upon
Mhm.
is dead.
I didn't
It's
know
a,
they were around.
Ooh,
it's a sad day, but Stumble Upon is officially, after 16 years, it's over. So very, very sad.
Well, and then totally unrelated, I was reading an article recently and talking about radio, which is technology, and they use computers.
Well, some do.
There's a station owned by, I forget who it is. They're a big shortwave broadcaster, but somewhere down in Central America, they had a 500,000 watt AM radio station. In the United States, they're limited to 50,000 watts. Down there, they had a 500,000 watt radio station because of the power. It's a religious group. Because of the power bill, they took it down to 100,000 watts. Recently, they decided to do a fundraiser, which they were very successful doing because they weren't reaching into Cuba like they wanted to. They did a fundraiser to raise money to go back to, originally it was going to be 500,000 watts. But they found out, Nick, you'll appreciate this. They found out that probably the best best radio transmitter you can buy is made by a company called Nautel, Nautel.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So they ordered, get this, a 400,000 watt solid state AM transmitter, a single transmitter, solid state, 400,000 watts, and it's a standard model from Nautel.
Yep.
Who would have thought? I wonder how many of those they sell a month.
Oh, did you not see the picture of the Nautel transmitter?
Wasn't it 4 cabinets?
The one that with the tropical cyclone?
I don't think
I
saw
thought this is what you were talking about. Check out this picture that Nautel posted on their Facebook page of a transmitter building that was demolished by a cyclone, but the Nautel solid state transmitter is still sitting over there in the corner.
It's the thing where it's the gray cabinets with the
Under
white
the
bars going across the 4 cabinets.
Yep.
This is a company. I will tell you what, we talk about business here and way to do things and not do things. This Nautel company is without a doubt the premium company, broadcast company in business. Their transmitters almost never fail. When they do, it's a part that's not a custom part. And since they've been in business, they have never stopped supporting any transmitter they've ever built. You can
Nice.
still,
and they're very affordable. I mean, we have a 1,000 watt one, I think, here right now that we're using, and that transmitter is, I think, less than $5,000.
this transmitter is so good. Now get this. This transmitter is so good. The new station that bought it, they can go to 500, but they decided to go to 440,000 watts. We're asked why 440? Where'd that number come from? Well, this transmitter is rated at 400,000, but it'll run fine at 10% over. So they're going to run it at 110% of capacity with the manufacturer's blessings. Now, you tell me what company would ever do that. That's how confident they are in their designs.
Yeah, I can say, knock on wood, the only issue we've ever had with our Nautel transmitter was the air conditioning going out and it shutting itself down due to a heat issue.
Absolutely. And the other issue that I've seen that a guy complained of recently, he went in and found out that his $5 fan had seized up.
Yep, I actually was part of the process of replacing a power supply on one of them, and it was just pull the old power supply out, two of the signal, the power. You watch the power drop on the meter. You pull the power supply out. You slop the new one in. It clicks. The light turns green, and the power slowly starts building right back up.
The
Super easy.
radio business, for many reasons, is notorious about holding on to things for years and years and
So
years and years.
so when are you, Nick? So when are you buying that 440?
Yeah, next week. Well, actually, we're gonna call you and ask for some funding. But,
440.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, their stuff's we saw them at NAB and they make some cool stuff. And they're how old are they? They're not that old of a company. They're what, less than 25 years old?
Don't know.
They're a fairly new company in the
But as I was saying a moment ago before I was interrupted, the radio business is notorious for holding on to things for years and years and years. And for good reason, because sometimes the older stuff is better, it's certainly paid for, what have you. I now am at the position with a 400,000. I mean, we bought one of the first solid state 1 kilowatt AM transmitters out there because nobody was doing high power with solid state. It was all tubes. And for many, many, many years, the 50,000 watt transmitters were all solid state except for the final tube. They just couldn't get the power. Now to see that Nautel has 400,000 watts in a solid state transmitter, there's, and somebody said it in one of the radio magazines that I read, they said, there are now no excuses for any radio station not to have a solid state transmitter for reliability, for efficiency, for repairability, maintenance, maintainability, those sorts of things. But you'll see, unfortunately, the radio business, especially the smaller markets, full of a bunch of whiners. They'll say, "Oh, I can't afford that. We can't afford it. Can't afford it." Well, how much is that transmitter? Well, and this one's $20,000. Oh, can't afford it, and they go out and get into their Volvo.
yeah, you can buy it right on their website. It's called the NX400 AM transmitter.
How much is it? I want one.
They don't have prices on their
Wow.
website.
See, there you go.
Yeah, this is a standard model they make. It's 4 cabinets.
I mean, that's just incredible. I worked on AM transmitters that were that big, that were 1,000 watts.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how long they've been in business. They had their first AM transmitter in the 80s.
Yeah, I will tell you that these, but people were scared of them in the 80s. I mean, solid state lightning radio station towers attract a lot of lightning. FM transmitters are susceptible because they have a 2,000-foot lightning rod out there. But I will tell you that these guys, if you want to learn how to operate your business, you need to study what these guys do.
All right. We're talking about that 480p. There's another article here about this. It says Charter Communication launched its mobile broadband service on June 30th, and it's throttling all video streams to DVD quality. It says DVD quality video streaming is supported. Video typically streams at 480p, and Charter notes that the pricing and other info sections of its mobile sign-up page. The quality limit is similar to the one imposed by Comcast, which previously did not impose any. And they keep on going. And at the end, they're saying it HD, and this is Spectrum, Charter Spectrum. HD video is not currently an option for Spectrum Mobile. They are saying it. Charter is saying right now, they are not planning HD video on their Spectrum Mobile service. What? I don't understand. I thought everybody had to go HD. Other than those guys are not supposed to do that. So if you're thinking about it, hold off. I mean, at least they said it with Comcast. Comcast is letting existing customers get 720p video streams on an interim basis at no charge. And they said that they announced plans to charge extra for long-term access to HD quality. But Charter hasn't announced any plans to let customers stream in HD. That's cheap. Cheap. All right. There was something here about Facebook. Mike, I don't know. You can comment on that. Based on recently published patent application, Facebook could one day use ads on television to further violate a user's privacy. The patent is titled Broadcast Content View Analysis Based on Ambient Audio Recording. It describes a system in which an ambient audio fingerprint or signature that's inaudible to the human ear could be embedded in broadcast content like a TV ad. When a hypothetical user is watching this ad, the audio fingerprint would trigger their smartphone or another device to turn on its microphone, begin recording audio, and transmit data about it to Facebook.
Wow.
So they applied for that patent. So now, what do they do now? You see ads and they said, go to this website.com/33.
But how is it possible that that microphone on your phone is able to listen to
I
that
have,
ad and
I
listen
have
all the
no
time?
It's listening for Hello Google or Siri
Yeah.
Which
or
means it's
Alexa.
listening all the time anyway.
So it's the same thing. It's listening for a known pattern, right? And wakes up when that pattern shows up.
Oh yeah, I believe Facebook when they say that, of course.
No, that's what the patent says. That's exactly what it said. From what
Yeah, it's when it
just
when that tone, that inaudible tone, turns it on.
Yeah.
So it could be, I mean, if they have something going with Google, then obviously they can turn on Google Home or Google phones. If they have
The
it
whole
with Amazon, then they can turn on Alexa.
Yeah, I mean, the whole goal for this is so that the advertisers can track how many people actually
Well,
heard their ad
yeah.
instead of the estimate that the TV station gives them.
Well, but the thing is, it's still they're doing something that you. It's something that you did not mean to do. Don't you do it? If I want, I'll do it. But they are going around you. So yeah. All right. Anything else? Going once?
Nope.
Going twice? All right. I see Mike moving around down there, but I can't see if he's.
I did post something in chat on Home Depot.
Yeah.
There was an article in the magazine I read last month where it had a way of testing to see. We all have trouble figuring out which electrical breaker goes with which outlet.
Mm-hmm.
You're always trying to figure it out until you finally go through your whole house and fix everything and label it. So there was a picture of an AC plug with about 6 inches of wire on it. The two wires were twisted together with a wire nut over them so that the plug was nothing but a dead short. And they said if you plug this in, it'll tell you which breaker is connected to that outlet
By tripping it.
by tripping it. And it has a little tag on it that says breaker finder. So
Oh boy.
So anyway, after someone wrote in and said John Bissett's breaker identifier in his column is stupid, dangerous way to figure out which circuit is which. The idea presumes that the breaker is in good condition, the wiring is properly sized, and that the breaker is sized correctly so that it fires before the one that feeds it does. If any of these assumptions is wrong, you could have an electrical fire. There are power line safe tone tracers that you can purchase from places, and that was that Home Depot link. I
Some
know the workbench column is about cheap tricks, but this one could cost you far more than it saves. And uh, the author then replies, That was published tongue in cheek, something an engineer found at a site and snapped a picture of. Some engineers who've seen it got a laugh, but our apologies to anyone who took it literally. Mr. Brodsky is right. There are devices at big box stores with a switch designed to identify. I got news for you. I'm willing to bet the guy was serious about putting it in there because in a perfect world, it'll do exactly what it's supposed to do. In an
Yeah.
imperfect world, it could be serious.
Would you use it?
You know what?
I
There are
wouldn't.
days when I would use it. Absolutely.
Mm-mm.
I mean, there have been times if you're in an emergency situation, the radio station's off the air, you can't figure out where the breaker is. You've tried everything. Or
Okay. All right.
let's say
Well,
that there's a fire going on, and you can't disconnect something. Yeah, I would do it to blow the breaker.
now you need to do this before you're in an emergency.
Of course. What if it's not
Isn't
your
that the way to
facility?
do it? Yeah.
What if it's not your facility?
Yeah.
I mean, Nick's becoming a broadcast engineer. He'll probably be the only guy in Wilmington keeping radio stations on the air in 5 years.
Oh boy.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
All right, guys. Nick, you're doing the show tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, guys.
Oh, and it's podcasted now too. After you complain, after
There you go now.
complaining for the
Yeah.
last 8 months about me not podcasting any of the shows, they're now podcasted at atnshow.com.
All right, so what are you going to talk about tonight?
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. It appears Hillary's going to run in 2020.
Are you kidding?
That's on my list of stories. Got some stuff going on with North Korea. Those kids trapped in that cave out in Thailand. All that stuff coming up tonight.
I don't understand why they can't get them out. I haven't looked at it.
There was a water, so they went. into the
No.
just
That's not
real
what you.
quick, 'cause
That's not what
it's
you.
real quick.
That's
Just
not
real
what
quick.
you say, Nick. You say, tune in
Nah,
tonight
wait,
at
go ahead,
7.
Nick.
It's fine. There was the kids went into the cave in Thailand or whatever with their soccer coach after a game, and there was a monsoon, a heavy rainstorm, and it blocked the entrance. So a dive team is extracting them, but it takes 6 hours to dive to the cave and then 6 hours to get out. So 12-hour round trip for these divers, and these kids have never scuba dove, I guess would be the word before scuba
Maybe.
dive. So you can only imagine how a 6-hour scuba dive goes when you've never done that before. I mean, I can only imagine. They got 4 out this morning, I think. So, I mean, it's
Elon
a hell
Musk
of an
is going to build a small submarine to go over there.
yeah, they wanted to
That's
drill in, but they were afraid the cave was going to collapse. So
That's they were saying that Elon Musk company is going with some kind of one-man submarine that they can put a kid in and get him out, and then push it back in and come out.
I
Yeah,
got
I
to
know.
tell you, if it was one of my kids, they'd either get out alive or I'd come out dead.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
they've got a couple. They said it could take a couple days to get them all out, but
I don't understand why they can't survive forever. Can't they they're getting oxygen in there to them, aren't they?
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, there's already oxygen. They're giving food and stuff, but they're sleeping in this damp. I mean, they're in a rock. They're just some cave.
I get it. Well, okay.
Yeah,
Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Well, you can tune in tonight at 7. You can actually call in and talk about it. So tune in.
Does your phone system still work?
Who knows? We'll find out at 7.
What else you going to talk about?
That's about it. Yeah,
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about all of the 44.
I got all that stuff on
under
my
the
list.
EPA.
We got it.
You didn't mention it.
I'm looking at my notes right here.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gal, Nick, Mike, everybody in the chat. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight, like you just heard, at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington Big Talker 106.7. You can listen on TuneIn. You can listen through your Echo And if you want to listen to a couple of previous shows, atnshow.com. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.